Good morning. How we doing this morning, guys? Just trying to get my hands to start working. I've been working on this rabbit stick the last few days. I think I'm going to work on the finish work and do some more on it tonight. Brandon, good morning. Welcome in. But I think I might work on this some more tonight on the evening live. I've got a little bit more contouring to do on it, but it's starting to fly pretty well. Blake, good morning. So, took the wrapping off up here. It looks like I was successful getting my split to stop. So, there's still a little bit of a split down here. I'm going to leave this probably until this afternoon. I don't know when I start working some more on it, because I've got to take some more off this end here. But really kind of excited about this thing. I had never messed with those at all, and was completely taken by surprise at what kind of a weapon they could be. OBS, good morning. All right, let me kind of warm up a little bit here on some rock. I've got a few pieces of different stuff today. There you go. Awesome, Blake. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to help. Glad that was able to, and like I said, it's one of those things when that happens. Hey, Bill, good morning. It's one of those things. It's, if your platform is holding up, then it's angle or energy. First thing usually is the platform. Is it's not holding up to take enough energy to transfer into the piece. But after that, then it would be your angle and your force. Because truthfully, we hit way too hard. Now I scooped that one a little bit right there because my support wasn't very good. But rarely do we not hit a piece hard enough. So, hey Don, good morning. So usually it's the platform or the angle you're hitting in. And a lot of times you can hit too hard. You can hit through the platform. And get in frame a little bit better there. You can hit through and break a platform that otherwise would have had a flake travel. Mad Dog, good morning. Just working this piece of, this is the, I don't know if I've got the biface. I think I do. Good night. I was looking the other night, guys, and over the course of however long I've been doing these lives, let me set my casts over here someplace out of the way. I have amassed some pile of bifaces over here. Yeah, that's out of that same rock that we were working, I believe. It's either this one or I've got one more in here that's... No, it was this one. I knew it was similar. But I've got some in here that I need to... And I can still see some of that stuff, that line that's still in this one. But it's just heat treated really nice grade of Buffalo River. And I do have a little coffee this morning. Did not sleep well. And found it necessary this morning. Baby steps, right? No, but I was thinking, I don't know, I may work on this a little bit. I got really, I was working on this after the live yesterday, and it got like scary thin. So I'm gonna look up some. Oh, awesome! Right on, Don. Got you some more material to beat on, huh? But I'm gonna look up. I'm not sure, but this one looks like, if I remember, like it's close to like a Benton profile. But I'm going to do some research on it before I take that any farther, because like I said, it's too thin and a little too narrow for the harden that I was wanting to make out of it. So I'd like it a little wider right down here at the base. So we're gonna make something else that would be correct out of it. A lot of incense here. So, well, how's everybody doing this morning? We've got a few folks in here. If you've never been in before, welcome. Feel free to ask questions. Right now I'm just trying to, I've got this kind of big square area over here that we're getting ready to attack, I think, with the punch. I don't know though. I might be able to, yeah, there we go. Well, I like that crisp release of those flakes. When you're making good contact on the platform, you get a real nice high-pitched crack when that flake releases. Alright, let's see here. Clay, I got started flint knapping about almost, well, this year be 30 years that I started actually trying to make stone tools this way. But before that, I grew up in Southwest Missouri, following my grandpa around as a kid in a plowed cornfield next to our house, or next to our property. That my grandpa knew the owner, and he didn't mind, and we'd go look and walk this field, and it was like, I don't know, it was probably a 50-acre field, probably, something like that. And it was above a big spring on a creek down where I grew up, and I can just remember how excited my grandpa would get whenever he would pick up a point. And even, you know, when I was younger, I mean, I didn't know, it was an arrowhead. I didn't know, you know, big sandies and, you know, hardens and all this different stuff. And, but I knew how excited he would get when he would pick one up. And I was 9 or 10, I don't know exactly how old I was, but we were walking this field down on the creek side of it, near the creek, and I just saw a tip. And I mean, when I say a tip, it was probably like that much of it sticking out. And I thought it was like a broken tip. And I said, "Pawpaw, I found one." And I reached down and I grabbed it and I pulled it out of the ground. And it's a Dalton that's just shy of 4 inches. got river turn patina on it, beautiful point, almost a 4-inch long paleo transitional point. And he just thought that was, he lost it, you know. And I didn't know what I'd found. It was an arrowhead to me, but I saw how excited he got about it. And I just wanted to know, thank you, Cash. That's, you know, for me, that's where the love of this and the drive to learn how they did it really started, was those first few years, you know, walking behind my grandpa. So that is how I got started. At about 25, I decided I wanted to. Oh, I know. Yeah, that's anymore, Clay. Everybody's finding them, you know, in shelter type situations where they're digging, which I'm not a digger. I don't dig for rock and I don't dig for artifacts, and I don't have anything against anybody that does. You know, if I find them in the creeks or near the creeks sometimes, then I'm good with that. But yeah, that no-till, for the most part, in most places where, and you know, unless they just turn the soil for whatever reason, those kind of big fields like that are no longer. But yeah, when I was about 25, I saw some freaking obscure thing. Well, gosh, that'd be 25. Yeah, I was 25 and saw some kind of, I don't know, it's a show of some kind or some obscure reference to flint napping. And I was just like, huh, well, if that's how they did it. And I went and got, you know, a deer antler and a rock, and I got a hold of some obsidian, a big chunk of it. And I sat in my garage and beat that into the ugliest pile of glass shards you've ever seen. Because at the time I tried to learn, nobody else flint, you know, I didn't know anybody flint napping. It wasn't near as popular as it is today. Plus, you know, there was no internet, there was no YouTube and all the stuff and the access to the things. There just was none of it. And I was a garage closet napper for like 2 years, until one night at work, I was sitting at what used to be our smoking area. They had a bunch of creek gravel out around it. And I picked up a piece of gravel and a piece of sandstone and started smacking around on it. And this guy walked up and he says, "Oh, you're a flint napper." Gold Crown, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And I said, well, I make, you know, arrowheads out of, you know, rock. And he said, yeah, it's called flint napping. And he introduced me to, well, if you've ever, within the community, a man named Dane Martin, macaroni. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, Osvaldo, but anyway, he introduced me to Dane, and and through Dane I met DC Waldorf, and that's where I got a hold of the Art of Flint Napping VHS and book, and that was just like a revelation to me. When I saw what he could do with those tools, I was just in awe, and have been chasing that ever since. So these are some more of those contouring flakes. I'm just trying to kind of taper into this mass in the center. And to those of you that, hey guys, thanks. To those of you that were in here yesterday, I got a little bit upset with somebody when they came in the room and did something, and I wanted to apologize to anybody that was in here. I got a little jerkish, you know, but I try very hard to, you know, stay chill and you know, I don't use disrespectful language, and I try not to disrespect anybody. I just appreciate the same. Bill, this right here is a piece of sandstone, and what I'm doing is when I'm brushing that, it's taking off these little sharp flakes, but it's also, like you said, it's chalking it, or it's leaving a little bit of a rock dust on there. You can see that platform and how it's right above this area. It's kind of along where all that, see all that porosity and holes that go all the way across this point. So if it's gonna break, see, it's really bad on this side. It's gonna break basically right across the tip of our point, but but that other piece, you can see the same porosity in it, and that's the reason it's sitting over there, because I was gonna make a harden out of this, but you can see the holes through the rock right here in front of my fingers on both sides are basically right where my notches would come in. So I kind of have it set aside till I figure out what I want to do with it. But anyway, this sandstone, I'm going to put it right there on the tip of that and just try to run this ridge. Just like that. That crushed a little bit. It is like similar to playing pool as far as the angles and that kind of stuff. And the chalking, you know, the tip of the tool. Now, if I'm pressure flaking, a lot of times on a really sharp, I'll use this oxidized seashell or whatever it is, clamshell. Yep. All right, we're gonna see if we can attack this little ziggy zag area here. I've kind of crushed a couple of them right there, trying to get back into it. So we're going to start back here and see if I can take a flake that'll take a bigger bunch of this off and make it a little bit easier to deal with. Sometimes when you've got an issue in a rock that you're trying to work around, and you don't, it won't work the way, you know, your initial. Zach, good morning. It doesn't work, you know, the way you initially wanted it to. Then you start looking at, you know, like a puzzle piece. Now right here, I've got this little tiny nub right here, and you see how it's on this ridge that runs right down through that mass. Well, I'm going to try to hook just onto that little spot and try to take a big, long, almost like a blade core flake that'll run the length of this if it sets right. And I hit it too hard. I hit it too hard. That first one I blew through the platform. Now I just went to the side of it and kind of stole a little bit of it. It wasn't near as good a flake, but that might get us a little bit out of the woods on it. I'd like to try one this way if I can get it just a little lower right here. There we go. See, and I didn't lose a lot of the length of the point at all on that. But I'm just trying to set up where I can come back over the top of this ridge at an angle this way. And if I can do that, then I'll save a lot of, and then there's another shot on this side as a last resort. I always try to, on stuff like that, if there's numerous ways that you can that you can go after it. In fact, I like this first one right here, or this one better, because I think I can roll a flake. I think I can go edge to edge with that and take out some of this mass over here. And if that one doesn't work, then I've got other ways to get to it. So, move this stuff. I'm going to set that up to be I might have another one right there that I can use the next time through. All right, now what I was doing with that pressure flaking right there, you see that little, it's almost like a fluting platform right there, and it's in line with the ridge that runs right to the back of this mass that we've got. So, Zach, thank you. I appreciate it, man. So I'm going to put this in here. I want to make sure, boy, that's going to sit at a spot where it could really cut me if I don't like to hold it in heavy. That'll be all right. I'm going to press against my hand on the back side of this where I want that flake to run, and I'm going to press it towards that. Come on. That was... One more shot. Come on. There it went. I just kept hitting the wrong angle, and it did pinch me a little bit. I can feel it. But see how that, it didn't take as much of this edge as I wanted, but it did go all the way over here and thin us out a spot where we've got another way to get to it. So, puzzle pieces, you know. And again, like pool, you know, each shot I'm going to try to set up another shot. Oh, thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. Yeah, if you're asking about what kind of material, anything that breaks, well, I mean, most people would recognize it as anything that breaks like glass does. If you've ever seen storefront glass that's been shot with a BB, and how there's a little bitty tiny hole on the outside, but then there's like a big cone out on the inside. Well, that's the conchoidal fracture. And if it breaks that way, hey, Springfield Chuck, good morning. If it breaks that way, you can nap it. You can make stuff with it. So, just looking this over, trying to think I might be able to get some of this from this end. Damien, good morning. We're going to try to come kind of at an angle, and there's a little bit of it's a little chattery right here, but if I can get it to roll this ridge, it'll give us a lot of relief to the back side of this mass right here. It'll be a lot easier to get to it. Yeah, I'm overstriking today too much. All right. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be nice to get today. Okay. Okay, for out looking for rocks. Well, if it sounds glassy, a lot of times when you're walking on it, it'll sound like broken glass, Bill. Yes, Chuck, it is going to be nice for us today again, and a few more nice days coming up. And Clay, hey Terry, good morning. I have done some, but are you talking about like lessons that you know of? What area of the country are you from, Clay? Because I have done one-on-one lesson type stuff. I've done demonstrations and all that kind of stuff. West Kentucky, yeah. What I'm actually working on, or I'm trying to get there. It's been a struggle, but for my subscribers, I'm looking to do maybe like a once a month. Where it's like a Q&A with just the subscribers, so it's not all the traffic coming through, and I could be a lot more in-depth about specific things for you guys. So that's something that I've been trying to get going. But I don't know of anybody in that area over there other than just sit down with other nappers. YouTube is a great resource. We live at a time now where it is a lot easier to get information about it than it was, when I started. There was none of this. So, the information's out there. If you want to learn how to do it, you will find the information. Just give a look-see for it. But I would suggest looking for, check some of the other social media outlets for nappers that might be in your area, or nap ins. Well, that skirted right along that chalky stuff, and I don't like the flake it gave us, but as you can see, these are just flattening that out real nice. Now I'm gonna have to Yes, Todd, and that's right on, Clay. Well, I tell you what, I will explain some platforms. I do that a lot in here. I go over it a lot. And yeah, Todd, that's what I was thinking, and it's a lot easier for me, because I don't want to exclude anybody when they say something, but then to try to stay on track to show somebody from beginning to end on a particular style, it makes it a little difficult at times. So, yep, that is exactly the reason. Because it'll be easier for me too to keep up with everything. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about, we could just do like show me, a turtleback and how you would go after it, or stuff like that. Yeah, flint napping. Marty is if you like these kinds of tools, and that's the thing about it. If you want to learn with copper tools, there's a bunch of resources, but there's not near as many stuff out there on these tools. Marty is the best. That's kind of what I was thinking, Don, was as another kind of a thank you for all my subscribers, is we just have almost like once a month or once whatever, we'll figure out a date, just a 2 hour, just for the subscribers to come in, ask questions, have them join on, show me what they're looking at, and we can talk through some problems. That's absolutely the route that I was wanting to go with that. So I'm working on it. Hang in there with me. Yeah, I tried to climb the hill a little too quick there, but we got what's probably going to be the tip, because of these. I don't want to notch in those. Fairly thin down. now I'm getting ready to go after this area right here. Let's see what I'm getting ready to do here, and then is basically a modified zigzag type of, and then Clay, I'll start talking a little bit on platforms. All right, the platform is the place on the preform where I want to place the tip of that tool, and I'm going to do this on this little protruding area. That's the platform. You want to make sure that it's stout enough to hold up to the force that you're going to put onto it and break once that energy is transferred into the rock. If it's too weak, it will break away before there's enough energy and you'll get a bunch of shorter flakes. If it's too strong, it'll take too much force to detach it and can possibly break your piece. Redneck Tech, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So there's a little bit, you have to flint knap enough to kind of get a feel for it. But see how that went right along that ridge from where that detached right there, and it came off and took, a quarter-ish of this, not quite a quarter, but and it tapered the front end there. So now it gives us another angle to come back here, and then we'll get another one that'll come up in here. Right on, Redneck Tech. Yeah, I love flint napping, man. It's been, well, I've told everybody it's been kind of a savior to me after I got injured, to be able to keep my brain. Right on, Clay. I'm getting ready to do a little bit more here. I'll show you another one. But it's helped me, kind of have something to focus on since I got hurt. So, and we're going to do the same thing, just on a smaller scale here. If you look, you see that little tiny spot sticking out right there, and that ridge that it's on. I'm going to tilt this up and put that on the bottom of that, and just take that flake, and it runs down the ridge. That one tailed off a little bit this way. See, those are just running along that ridge that I've created there. I'm going to take a little bit of a flake here, back down into that before we get too narrow or thin. My favorite native cutie, thank you for the follow. Awesome, Don. Awesome. Fish and Sippy. Right on. Well, Redneck, if you like this kind of content, I've got a YouTube channel also, and it's the same name as this, New Age Neanderthal. So, if you like. But yeah, I'll absolutely Fish and Sippy. It's a nice, see how that, we were pulling that flake off the tip just to take some of that mass out. Look at how much that removed on that. I wish there wasn't all that junk in the middle of that flake. It's kind of almost too thin for a flake, or for a point, but it's kind of a pretty flake. I can't throw that in the pile. I'm still working on it. I have Blake, I've got some up, and there are a couple of the older ones, but the format that I'm using and the way I'm doing it, I'm limited in the amount of gigs that I upload in a day. That's available on this on the deal. But I do have, I don't know, there's 2 or 3 of them up that are past ones. I've got past lives, but yeah, I've got past lives posted on there, a few, and we're working on getting some more. So hopefully, that we can get to a point where each day, within a day or two, every live will be up on there on a playlist. So if you guys do miss them, but I mean, I've got the ability to get all these, is what I'm saying. We'll have them up there soon. I got just a couple of them, of older ones, and I'm working from, I think, I'm now into the 1st of February with them, because they hold them back 30 days. So I'm going to be able to save all of that stuff to YouTube. And that's what I'm trying to get, is some of the older stuff. Thank you for the follow, Meslick. I don't know where we're going with that, but right on. Thank you. I appreciate it. Redneck Tech. I will check out your fishing setup there. And guys, I think he said it was Fish and Sippy, right? On YouTube. Absolutely. All right. See how we're just kind of walking around that just flake back and forth. I'm going to take this one at a higher angle. See how that just skirted right along that square edge and took that off. And now we're left with, we've got this area here is where most of our mass is left. So I'm just going to take some little trimming flakes there. I will do that. I will check it out when I get off the live here. Redneck Tech, appreciate it. All right, we've got another platform set here, and it kind of runs this ridge at an angle. I'm going to try to take some of that mass off with a kind of an oblique type flake. See, that ran right across the top of that. Now I've got another ridge right next to it. Hit that one a little bit hard. Trying to get kind of figured out where I'm going with this. Sometimes you get the rock turned there, and you kind of lose where you were at with it a little bit, because a lot of times I've got several little spots on the rock that I'm trying to work around, or that it's kind of like we were talking about, with pool, playing billiards or 9-ball, 8-ball, whatever, you're trying to give yourself a good leave. And this is much the same as, that's why I tell you guys, I try to not put problems into them that I'm going to have to fix later. If I can, well, that was a nice flake, contour and flake off that tip. But if I can avoid making them now, then it just makes it really a lot easier later. Instead of fixing issues, I can work on, other stuff with it. So this one should blend right down this seam here. I'm not looking for a big flake, just something to kind of blend in this little area of mass. See how that just tapered right into that? And we've got this little bitty area right here. The reason I was avoiding it is because there's a little bit of an undercut there. Today, I think it's my wife bought some, it's Starbucks, I think. Pretty sure. Whatever my wife made this morning, that's what I'm drinking. That's the best coffee. All right, we're going to see if we can just skim that just like that. I was just trying to go along the edge of that to try to get that undercut. I'll show you what it looks like here. And one more little one right here. Come on. Trying just to catch this little edge, but Andre, are you talking about this right here? If it's, I've got it on it's a shaft punch, but it's kind of suspended off my leg. If you'd like to, I've got a whole video on it. It's pinned to the top of my profile page. It's about a 4-minute video and explains everything, how it's set up. If you want to check it out, and then if you've got questions, come back in here and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Or if you want to check it out after you get done watching the live, send me a message and I'll do my best to answer questions for you. Ron, thank you for the follow. Yes, sir. Absolutely, Andre. That's, you guys, if you've got questions, this is all, it's pretty transparent. There's, you guys are not, you're seeing what I'm doing as I do it. So if you've got a question as to how and why and whatever, feel free to ask me. And I will try to keep up with all the comments. That's what I was saying to my, earlier when we were talking about possibly doing a subscriber only feed. Because trying to keep up with comments, sometimes I get a little bit. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's kind of Andre, it's a modified version. The first person I saw using one was Marty Reuter. And from what I understand, Marty, I got information that Jim Spears, who's kind of one of the grandfather guys of the Stone and Bone Antler movement, he was using something similar in the 80s. But they tuck it under one leg and over the other one. And I was injured on the job about 10 years ago, and I've got sciatic nerve issues. I've got lower back issues. And so I modified it to where it would work for me. And it seems to, help a lot of people out as far as, I've noticed a lot of the guys with the back injuries have the same complaint about the shaft punch that I had, and that was that sitting that way was really inflaming the back and causing a lot of issues. But this way, it sits on my leg. I don't have any force on that. It just sits there. And with that the weight of that, it stays nice and snug. And it works really well to deliver that force through that. For me, I tried the other ones and it was really, I was, after having tried one for the first time, I knew that was going to happen. With up underneath one leg deal, I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm going to have to miss that train. But then a buddy of mine got me to try it one more time, and I drove a few flakes off of his, and I saw the potential in it, but I just didn't think I could do it the way everybody else was doing it. So I had a number of one of my first ideas was I had a strap that went just behind this. Pure Poison, thank you, I appreciate it. That strap went down and went under my foot, and I would kind of step down on it, but what it started doing was torquing my knee out, and so my knee started hurting. So I was like, well, that's not going to work, and just kept toying with it. I was like, I need some kind of a weight, and then when it made, I was like, oh yeah, that'll work, you know. And like I said, I don't you know, think that there's the likelihood of something like this being in the archaeological record. Very doubtful, you know. Shaft punches, now they know that those existed, but as far as a setup like this, probably not. But just as a shaft punch, you know, they know that they were used. So started off, I was just going to warm up with this piece, and I kind of just decided to work it, I guess, at some point. Sorry about that, guys. Kind of got lost in it a little bit. And see, we're doing the same thing that, you know, I always tell you. We're going to thin the base and the tip and leave that mass in the middle. Right on, Andre. Hey, Todd, you have a good day too. And again, these are going to eventually be up on the YouTube channel. So if you can't stay for the whole, yeah, I bet it is. You know, well, but you can use. I've seen some of the guys using whitetail similar to this, Andre. If you don't have, you know, lower back or hip issues or that. I've got a buddy of mine that actually puts a deer like a rack, and he'll cut off whatever tines that would be uncomfortable. Oh, thank you, Blake. I appreciate it. Well, we're getting ready to. It's just about thin. If it doesn't break right there where all that junk is, that chalk, you can see how that even stands up off there. It's like a little concrete stuff. But we can work around that. But no, I've been really happy with how this has worked. But you can use on the end of that shaft any kind of, you know, deer antler. I think this is like red stag. I believe it's not elk, but it's very similar. I think it was from part of the same rack that this came from. And that's just they're similar to elk. You can see how that pith starts way up here. So there's only about 2 inches of hard usable bone, and then it's going to be just like that, just pithy inside. The tines though seem to be really like solid farther out, almost like the brow tines that I like on well, like similar to moose too. Andre, you too. Right on. Well, like I said, this is going to be on my YouTube channel before long. So if you want to check those out, same name as my TikTok. Steve, good morning. All right. That one went a little bit shorter than I wanted. Well, I'm just really messing that up over there today. Let's see if we can't fix that. There we go. Awesome, Clay. Let's see. Oh, whoever's using under the knee like that, I don't like the constrictive deals. There's been some people having, you know, when you get it tight enough to keep that thing from slipping, it's like you're putting a tourniquet around your leg, you know, and you've got a major artery running on the inside of that thigh. So I'd be real careful about, you know, doing a tight strap on my leg. I would hate for somebody to develop some kind of, you know, blood clot or something like that. That'd be horrible. Yeah, I've tried that. Yeah, that's what's cool about this, Jacoby. You could just take this. I can set it right there. It's out of my way now. Or if you're working on something and you want to work, well, we'll do a smaller tip. Kind of got that in there as a shim. It's been sliding around on me. It's kind of getting worn out, but this is a piece of mousse. It's a lot finer punch. I don't know if this is yeah, it's barely going to be on camera. But I've been trying to kind of get used to this one a little bit for some finer work. Is this in a vise? No, Clay, it's not. It's like I said, if you check out the video on it, it explains everything about how it's set up. It's just on this is an old bow that this tip is kind of set up on, and right now it's just up against the wall in my napping area. If I'm outdoors, I stick it into the ground. But it still has this weight suspended off the side, and that's what's holding it in place. Is this weight right here? And like I said, if you check out the video, it explains all of it. See, now we're getting that crusty spot right here. That's why that broke in that. So we're just gonna try to sidestep it a little bit and take some of it out of there. That's why I was thinking this was gonna be the point, the tip end, not the base. Hey, what's going on, Flint Sky? I was just telling somebody, check out the video. I've got it pinned on my profile page, and I've got about a 4-minute video. And actually, I've got a video on my YouTube, the same video on my YouTube channel. So, and it explains exactly how I've got it set up. I've been checking out your bows, Flint Sky, looking really good, man. Built that a little bit stout right there. Hey, Belinda, good morning. I'm kind of relieving that little spot there because it's real near that trashy stuff right there. And I just want to take a flake that's just going to taper into this little area of mass in the center of that. But I didn't want it to be something I had to hit really hard because, well, we may still break it, but this junk goes all the way through the rock and almost halfway. So if I can get it to stay in the, stay together, then this will definitely be a win. That lipped a little bit. Yeah, it's been thawing here, Kenosha. We had darn near 80 degrees or right at that yesterday, and it's supposed to be in the 70s today. Again, for like the third day. I really wanted that flake to go clean. Let's see. Good morning. A friend sent me some Texas chert and I made a beautiful airhead. Awesome, Chris. Yeah, upper 40s. That's been our lows for the night. Yeah, no kidding. That's what I'm saying, Bryce. We were, we got to -4, I think was our low. And like I said, yesterday or the day before, one of those days, we had 80 degrees and, and supposed to be in the 70s again today. Yeah, I'd kind of messed that little spot right there up. It was zipping along pretty good and did not do what I should there. So we'll see if we can fix that. Yeah, 62 in West Virginia. Yeah, it's got me wanting to get out and see when the crappie are going to start biting real good in our area. We're not quite a month away from early morel season here. Oh, awesome, Kenosha. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got to get up to the post office. Well, I'll probably do that tomorrow to check my post office box. And I've got some stuff I need to mail out, so. Oh my goodness. That area right there is just gonna. Well, Kenosha, what area did that come from? And I'll start looking for some area correct. So if it's from California, I'll look up some points where it came, wherever it came from, and we'll try to make a point or points out of it that will be correct. Mount Hood, Oregon, right on. I will do some research. That'll keep my brain busy for a little while. starting to get the hang of this punch. Whenever you switch tools back and forth like this, I think I'm gonna put this one that I'm more used to on now. You know, it's just like any other tool. When you have familiarity with it, it feels more comfortable to you. DJ, good morning. And I put a couple of bad spots in that, just doing something that punch is not going to be able to do, but this one I think I could have. So we're going to see if we can fix those. We got a couple of ways. I'm going to have to lose a little bit right here. Yeah, I nerfed that up pretty good. Yep, absolutely. Well, you get, you know, like I said, I get accustomed to the angles and the stuff. That's why usually before I start a piece, you know, that I'm working on, I'll pick up, you know, like a warm-up piece just to get the angles in my head. Because, you know, the angle of that punch and there's a lot of different factors that you can really, you know, it's like I've said, especially at this stage, you know, every bad shot I put in this thing now is going to probably be in the finished piece. So we want to keep those to a minimum if possible. There we go. Rizzo, good morning. Let's see if we can get this from an angle over here, and the rest of it I may have to pressure flake. Got some of it. Just needed to get a little bit of an angle on that. See, what I'm trying to work around is you can see some of this like rough concretey stuff. Well, I think some of that goes through over here, but I'm trying to work out this area that I kind of chopped up a while ago, and I'm trying to build to where I can get underneath that issue right there. What I'm doing, I'm dragging the tip of that and pulling off the little tiny flakes until it kind of grabs and those flakes don't come off anymore, and then I load up and apply that pressure. Cement. Oh, I got the puzzle piece pull here. Well, a lot of people call them concretions. It's not really quartz in that one, Kenosha. It's more of just a lesser quality area of the rock, but it's more limestone-y, I guess. All right, should be. Yep, it worked. All right. Can I get back to where I was here? I think I've got enough of an angle here. Yeah, I got some of that with the pressure flake. Rick, I think it's various stuff. It's I'll have to look it up. My CD player is very temperamental, and I usually have to mess with it several times to get to play, or I would just. I tell you what, if you're gonna be able to hang around for the whole live today, at the end of it, I'll open it up and tell you what the name of it is. If you want to, that way you can search it and check it out. It's an old CD that I've had for forever. Yeah, it's like I saw this deal the other day. Those of you that are a little longer in the tooth in here will appreciate it. But they said, you know why Gen X is so mad all the time? It's because we've had to replace every album we ever bought. You know, we had an LP, and then we had got an 8-track, and then we got a cassette, and then we got a CD, and then we had to learn how to download it to a whatever. And it's incredibly. There's been a lot of it. Now kids just, oh yeah, just push a button. They can. I think they. What was it on Men in Black? I think he said, yeah, now I'm going to have to buy the White Album again, because, like I said, everything that was coming out was the new thing, and eventually, now I didn't get all the new stuff, but I got the, once it wasn't quite as new stuff, I was late getting into the CDs and thought, man, this is the greatest thing ever, the sound quality and then all of a sudden you can just download it, Same thing with DVDs and movies. Just about anyway. It's like I was telling. I said you don't know stress until. Yeah, mini disc. There you go, Efren. I said, but you don't know stress until you were watching like primetime television. And if you missed part of your show, or if Mom was late to see her show, and we were flying home because there was no, I'll replay it tomorrow, or it was just gone for whatever amount of time. So had to be present to watch. Whereas now you can pause it, come back 3 days later. Yeah, go outside and turn the antenna. You still, I bet those 1 cent cassettes, you still owe some money on those. I think we all probably do. Right on. Well, like I said, Rick, I will at the end of the deal, but if every once in a while there's a little bit of a concern that I might not have backing music if I mess with it. So usually in the morning, I start messing with it like 15 minutes before I go live. It was a nice Maya. Oh, I still got cassettes too, Efren. I was going through some stuff the other day. I found a bunch of my old cassettes, and I was like, it's almost impossible to find a machine to play them on now. Yeah, yeah. If you went the beta route, then you really got it, didn't you? Oh, I didn't forget about 8 tracks. That's what I was telling my wife. She laughed at me, but I told her, I said, my first quote unquote boom box was an Emerson 8-track player that ran off like 4 D batteries that had a radio, but it played 8-track, and I had the Doobie Brothers Greatest Hits was one of my first 8 tracks I had. But oh yeah, don't do that to yourself. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, people, there's a whole generation of folks that just, they're it's just nuts, the things that are available now. But you know what I was thinking about, guys, and it kind of ties in. You know, humans, we like technological advances, and every time we start talking about, you get a lot of folks talking about like the Clovis culture or the Folsoms or the Daltons, but what those were technologies, and depending on what archaeologists you talk to, or papers written, they determined that the Clovis culture lasted anywhere from 300 to 600 years, depending, like I said, on the papers and the people that you talk to. But you think about, to go from somebody figuring out that technology to it going and being widespread across this entire continent, up into North America, Canada, the lower 48, and into Mexico, and even into Central America. That technology traveled that way in 300 years. Well, think about it this way: the technology to make a car, how many, we're only 100 years, well, 130, 40 years from actual, the invention of the car. That technology is spread out throughout the environment. We're not known as the car people, and we weren't known as the horse people before that. It's a technology that we've learned. Oh yeah. No, I remember that. DJ Maya, my first CD player, was one of those that had the cassette adapter that you put into your cassette drive, and then ran that to your, I had a Sony Walkman that set with Velcro up on the dash, some of that high-tech electronics. But no, when we figure out a technology, it spreads throughout everybody, and it's not, the Clovis culture is just the native peoples. Now, well, and that's the thing, Kenosha. We went. Do you know that less than, I think it was about 40 years. You have to check me on it. I'm not sure about the exact date on it. But from the moment we learned to fly, and like you said, it's either 1903, 1908, somewhere, is it 1903? But we broke the sound barrier in a little over 40 years from that. So we went to outer space like 60 years, and then within less than 70, we're walking on the moon. So, I mean, you talk about technological advances and how, and we weren't the only country doing it. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. So, you had... Oh, yeah, I've seen those too, Don. I have seen those too. That's funny. Yeah, and that's these, I guess, though, that a lot of the LPs, the vinyl is making a comeback. They're actually, people are liking the nostalgia of it, I guess. but there are people releasing, you know, the LPs. It does, and just like Kenosha, just like the information. I mean, I'm broadcasting to you. You still have some Slate records, but I'm broadcasting to you on a device that has more computing capability than the computers that put men on the moon and brought them back home. You know, I mean, that is some scary kind of freaky stuff, you know? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're a little bit buggy on, you know. Yep, that's what I'm saying, Bryce and Kenosha. But yeah, the CDs had good sound quality. That or the, you know, now that we got the digital stuff, I mean, they can take out and, you know, there's a lot of, and I use the quotation marks, musicians that they have some really, really good studio people. Because the difference in a lot of these people that are out now is when you hear them live, they either don't sound like that or they don't have a skip in their broadcast like Milli Vanilli did. I mean, that was a nice flake right there. I'm just trying to get the other side of that we've been working up to. Right on, Bent Creek. How are you doing today? Yeah, well, that's yeah, Don, or read the instructions how to do that in cursive. You know, it's what we were joking about. You know, if Gen X ever wants to rise up and take over the world, just make every vehicle a standard and write all the instructions to everything in cursive. When we got it. Yeah, Bent Creek, late to the party, but I tell you what, I'm working on here before too long. All of these lives are going to be available on my YouTube channel. Boy, those were some nice thin and flake. See, lately, guys, for whatever reason, I've been. Oh, awesome. Well, I'm sorry you had to work all night, but glad that it was because you got a big order. So that is always good. But lately I have just been in this, I just really am pushing the limits of trying to get stuff thin. And I don't know why I'm doing it. This was that piece I was working yesterday. Like I said, it got so thin that for the point type that I was going for, I'm going to have to look for something else. And this is that dry Buffalo River stuff. I think I got that piece from Paul. But look at, I mean, that's like a guitar pick. So, oh, right on. Well, it's that time of the season. Hey, Lestat, how are you doing this morning? Yeah, I like a bass pick. See if I can get some of this. There's the last part of that kind of crusty. You can see the holes and that stuff in there. So I'm going to try to get underneath that. Yeah, I could probably make a small type of, like a Snyder's out of that if I wanted to. I've got it set aside trying to, when I see the point stock, because here's another one. Now this, I'm going to make like a Noonan or oh, what do they call them with the, not a beaver tail, but like a, there you go, Lestat. All right, right on, Kenosha. Yeah, and Adina. I thought about like a beaver tail, something like that, but this is out of some Georgia material, so it wasn't quite the correct. But check out, I mean, that thing is like, it's like a tater chip. Lestat, I do work occasionally with, I've got some, a little bit of obsidian, but I mostly work stone. But I think Kenosha there was actually telling me that he's got a piece of obsidian going to come to me here before too long. So looking forward to working that. We'll do that on a live when I'll set it aside so that when he's in here we can work that. Pisker diamond. I'm not familiar with that type. I'll look it up, Damien. It chips a little bit easier, but it's much sharper. And it's got its own set of rules that you kind of have to play along with. You know, the support on when you're working with obsidian is very important because it is a little bit easier to fracture. It is glass, Lestat. It is literally, you know, volcanic glass. It's silica that's gotten to the, you know, to the heat that it liquefied. And then depending on how it cooled and what minerals were in it, that's how you get a lot of the different variations of it. You know, there's some of it that's more stone-like because of the way that it cooled. Some of it's got like colored iridescent ribbons in it because of the different minerals or stuff that was in it. Yeah, Kenosha, it's actually the sharpest substance that we know of. It can be. Thank you, Lestat. I appreciate it. It can be as thick or thin as one molecule at the edge. Now, when you think about one molecule, how sharp that is, it's just incredible. Now this one, we're going to be, if it doesn't break here, I'll be surprised. This looks like where it's going to try to break on me, but I have to do this to get it to thin. Now we're going to go on the other side of it. Well, we got some of it out of there, and it didn't break. Now I might be able to, right there. Yep, got that to come all the way across that piece and get the back of it there. The fanciest rock I've worked with. Oh, let me think. As far as expense-wise, gosh, I couldn't even. I haven't worked a lot of. Yeah, they're super sharp. That obsidian at Kenosha is super sharp. I probably, well, I've worked with now obsidian wise. There's a type called Burns Green, and quality rock wise. I've got some that I've worked from Georgia. It's called Flint River. That when it's heat treated, it is some of the sweetest working rock. It's a nice material. Oh gosh, I've worked some really high quality stuff. Most of the glacier stuff, you know, the heat treated stuff. But see, I don't work a lot of heat treated. I like a raw stone for the most part. But, well, my favorite rock to work is if I can get a nice piece of reed springs that's nice and clean, that by far is my favorite material. But let's see, quality wise, I've worked some really good raw Burlington that just I would have sworn was heat treated. But and I've been gifted a lot of rock over the years, you know, going to events and stuff, and I've worked stuff that I would never have the opportunity to work, which is always exciting, you know. I mean, it's nice to work with a new medium, you know. Because all of it's got its own personality and its own attributes. That didn't take quite as much as I wanted, but I think it's okay. Yeah. Just trying to work through that little buggered up spot. Well, Kenosha, there's... Oh, heat treating. Okay, well, now, let me address both of those. Yeah, anytime a rock like this has been heated, the color change that you see in this was probably brought on by heat treating. There was always, you know, there are guys experimenting with melting down obsidian, and I don't know, it's not necessarily heat treating it, but it will melt. But it needs no heat treat. It's already as slick. Yeah, it's already as slick as you're going to get it to be, Kenosha. But heat treating, I'm not, you know, I don't know for sure what the technical or what the, but it somehow, it changes the chemical properties of the rock, and it changes the workability of it. It'll make it more glossy and slick, and it makes it a little bit more brittle. But the trade-off is that it breaks cleaner and sharper. So, yeah, that's what I've seen the experiments of the guys doing, that because everybody was saying you can't melt it down, and they were melting it, and it was turning all foamed up. So, since I have not messed with it, I don't expound upon it, but I do know that it's out there, that it can be melted. But heat treating is not beneficial for it. Oh, right on. Well, I can't believe this thing's held together. I mean, it's right on the edge. You can see how it's just like through on both sides. And a lot of times, that is where they will break. Be a lot of pressure flaking to finish this one out. Try to get that one more of that little ridge there, and then we'll. Yep. Oh, there. It's absolutely a fantastic material. Kenosha. It is. Will definitely supply all your needs for cutting and harvesting, butchering, all of that stuff. All right, we're gonna see if we can skirt this little, like a little thin flake right along this little ridge you see. And you can see I've got a flake that kind of stops short right there. And this other area over here, I want to kind of send this in between those and come up to the back side of where that ugly chunky stuff is and hope it doesn't break there, because I'm hitting right in line with that. So we'll see what happens. This was basically a warm-up piece anyway, because I knew it was, and I hit through that. I'm hitting too hard today. That would have been a good flake, but I just hit it too hard and didn't support well. Oh, right on, Kenosha. That's cool. All right. This is just me being crazy stupid trying to go thin with this, but awesome. Yeah, that's really cool, Kenosha. That's, I mean, to be able to go and harvest it right there off of the volcano, I bet you that was really cool. All right. Come back this direction. I'm going to try to match those up, and then we're not going to go any thinner. At least not for right now on that. See it? An edge right here, I can get a one this way. All right. Come on. I'm just trying to catch this tiny little spot. I'm gonna have to pressure flake it. Oh, gotcha. Right on. Thanks for that info, guys. Yeah, I've never been there, so I did not know that. I know that even here in the lower 48, they try to, you know, a lot of regulations on collecting it. No worries, Lestat. No worries at all. I'm just basically playing with this thing, just trying to, just going to see, you know, I wasn't expecting a lot out of it because of this trashy stuff in it, but it's just one of those where I've been able to just trying to push the envelope, see if I can get it a little thinner, little thinner. There's the type of flake I needed. Just a nice, crisp little, I got one more right here. I would have liked that to have gone a little farther out, but it's okay. Yeah, not too bad. I tell you what though, Jacoby, something happened to the algorithm, because man, a couple months ago, I'd have several hundred people in here. I had one day where the through rate was like 27,000 people. And then it just kind of went, you know, as far as numbers of people coming through. Because I was regularly getting, you know, that's what I'm talking about, Bent Creek. That's what it does for me. It just relaxes me. It gives me a, you know, this is kind of my little zen spot, my where I can come out here and just, I get lost in a project. I was out here last night. That's why I'm tired today, I'm sure. Yeah, it is. It's starting to climb back up, Kenosha, and I'm thankful for that, because I like the interaction and everything. But yeah, I was out here working on this rabbit stick till about, I don't know, it was almost 1 o'clock. Yeah, that was close to what I wanted. There's still a little bit of a, might be able to pick that off. Yeah. Crazy thin. Yeah, it's Bent Creek. It's you know, like I said, I don't necessarily do it for the likes or the whatever or the numbers, but you know, if I'm going to go live for 2 hours a day, you know, because I had a couple of days where I struggled. There was just a few hundred people in 2 hours came through, you know, and the click through rate was like, you know, however many seconds, and very few people sticking around to watch what was going on. So I do like that, you know, getting a little bit more, because with more people, there's a little bit more interaction. There's more questions, and that's, I like that part of it, that aspect of it. Because if it's something that I know and I can help somebody, I like it. And if it's something I don't know, then it gives me something to go focus on and do some study on. There's another, I just about ripped that one in half, but I do, Bent Creek. I've got it's set like my camera, you know, obviously this like this, but I've got the front facing camera, not the like the selfie version of it, whatever, but then it's hooked into, I've got it's just like an Amazon type monitor that my wife got me, and I'm able to see. It's just off camera view, and I can just kind of look up and read. It makes it a lot easier when when I first started doing this, I didn't have the monitor, and well, the first couple of times I tried to go live, and it was difficult to say the least, because you know, like right there, I was starting to get, I have a natural tendency, yeah, better half for the win, always, Kenosha. But I have a tendency that as I work on it, I'll start getting into this kind of position, and it takes it completely out of the field of view. So by looking up and I can see that, then I can adjust back into the frame. Then we'll set this one aside. We're going to work on something else here for a little bit, because this one's getting to where I'm going to have to make a decision what I'm going to do, and do some little bunch of this kind of work. And it's boring for you guys because I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm turning the edge, setting convexity, flipping it over, trying to build that. You can see how flat I got that, how thin. The only area we've got left is back here. Tell you what, we'll work on that. Yeah, Bent Creek, I'd like to see you go live. That's, you know, I enjoy watching everybody with their, you know, to do their crafts and their stuff, and the things that they do, their side hustle, their main hustle. I enjoy it, because, you know, the artisans, there's that type of a community is starting to make a comeback. You know, for a long time, you know, people are now better, you know, with paying somebody that, you know, is a quality craftsman, you know, instead of a fall apart 2 weeks after you buy it kind of stuff. All right, we're gonna see. I've got this really chunked up, narfed up area right here, where you see those steep steps right there off the edge. That's what I put in with that other punch I was using a while ago. So I'm gonna try to send a flake from this other side, and take out some of that, if not all of it. And this is one of those kind of a make it or break it kind of flake on this point. So we'll give it a shot, see what happens. I'm making the platform a little bit wider, because unfortunately it's got to be kind of right in that crusty stuff. So I'm going to make it a little bit stronger than I normally would, and hope that it's not too strong and it causes it to break right there. Right on, Bent Creek. That'd be cool. All right, now we're going to try. This is if we're keeping it in the pool realm, this is the epitome of the poke and hope right here. We're going to give this a shot and hope it dogs in somewhere. I'm setting up on this. You see how it's crusty, junky looking spot there. I made it a little bit wider, a little stouter, and I'm going to try to get it to run underneath this junk on this side here by my thumbnail. I don't think it's going to work, but that's the only opportunity we're going to have without making a tiny point. And if it breaks, then I'll make a tiny point anyway. Yeah, bank shot around the 8-ball. This is a poke and hope right here for sure. No, it did not. It crumbled. That's what I was worried about. That material is just too crusty. Yep, we'll just come at it from the base. We'll lose a little bit of length, but had this piece set aside for a while because it's got that crap in it like the other biface that I did. Yep, there it went. Too much angle on there, and it was right there at that crispy area. Oh well. Bucket of shame. Where'd we go? All right. Well, that was the warm-up, guys. Only an hour and 45 minutes. We don't have very long. This is a piece of my local stuff that I picked up, and I'm just going to biface it real quick. Yeah, I knew that one was going to... I had my concerns. That's why a lot of this stuff's set aside. You can see this one's got a big... See that seam right under my thumb right there? But that looks like it's healed up. And this is just some of our local... It's a little crustier right there, but let's see if I can biface one real quick here. Kind of work through this is a little bit crustier area up here. Try to get back into this cleaner stuff, higher quality material. See those two flakes, you see how that kind of put a beveled edge and started, you know, isolating that mass in the center. That's the first thing that I attempt to do is get the base and the tip thinned and start isolating material in the center. See, by taking those a couple of flakes like that, then I can just about to get through the last of this chalky stuff up here. Maybe. There we go. And this is just a raw. Hey, Damien, you have a good day too, man. Appreciate it. Hey, hun. Wifey has entered the chat here. Your ears must have been burning, hun. We were just talking about you. No, I was telling about the monitor setup. And how I love you too, sweetie. How's your day going? This stuff is really brittle. Along the edges, it's kind of dry and crusty. And the edges are crumbling, even when I'm not. I have to set up a little bit. No, that wasn't what we were talking about, but yeah, that also. Guys, keep a lookout. We're gonna get her TikTok and stuff set up, and she's gonna be making some jewelry. She does a lot of like she's got some jewelry jars and that kind of stuff, and making some beautiful stuff. And we should have some pictures of that showing up pretty soon. Yeah, I wasn't talking about the jewelry yet till we had it set up where you could show some of it, but now you've been outed, hon. Everybody knows. Now I was talking about the monitor out here set up in the Flint napping area, and how it was how you had picked it up as I can watch YouTube or whatever off my phone on it, or all that cool stuff. Bent Creek, your wife buys jewelry too, but she is not selling it, huh? Now, Bent Creek, where is it that you're located again? I know you've told me, and I'm sorry. South Texas. Well, you are down there. That's a ways down there, 8 miles. Now I went to Mexico several years. Well, it's been a long time ago now on a fishing trip with my stepdad, and we went through Brownsville, Texas, as the border town that we went through, or to get into Mexico. So that was a nice, almost edge-to-edge flake that took off a lot of that mass and really flattened that piece down. Looks like that healed up fracture is going to stay in that. I hope that it holds together. I like it when I can make points that have got that. Oh, right on, Bent Creek. Is that like a retirement type of situation for the future, or you just do it for financial reasons now, just as a landlord situation? I used to work with a guy that purchased a property in Mexico, and with what he made at the plant that we worked at, he sent money back and had like a full staff of people taking care of his house. And he was working here to pay all of that off, to basically retire in Mexico with a. Yep, that's what a lot of folks do that. Yeah, he said, well, now this has been a number of years ago, but even with $100,000, he said, you can go down there if all your stuff's paid for. He said, you can live really well for that. Now, of course, that's been 25 years ago, so I'm sure it's a lot more than that now, but right on. Now see, guys, what we're doing is we're just basically, we're flattening one side of this and letting the other side get a little bit more turtle-like kind because then once we get this side flat, then we just turn and come to the other side with some aggressive flakes, and we can flatten it down. You can see how that one side is just almost just tabletop flat, and then this is where our issues are on this side. So once you get it to that point, now we're just doing the same thing we were doing with the pressure flaking. I'm going to set up one edge, go this way, flip it, go back, and just keep working side to side, just trying to get the mass where you want it gone. Avoid taking out stuff where you don't need mass removed. Yeah, that'd be nice for you. That way you can, yeah, that's really cool, Bent Creek. Got to turn that edge a little bit to get underneath that. We're almost to the end. Rick, are you still in here? Rick Davidson? I told you I would check out the CD that I'm playing. Yes, right on. But we're getting close to the end. We'll pick back up on this tomorrow or maybe tonight. Gonna pick through my flake pile, but that's what we got from that little chunky piece so far. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Bent Creek, and I'm getting ready to build a 1,000 square foot home on property we own, and we're looking at probably close to $175,000. So yeah. All right, well, let's see what I got here. Rick, it is Tommy Wildcat, 2002 Warrior Flutes, Flames of Fire. Let me know when you got that. And then if you want to look at some of the songs, take a screenshot real quick. You got it? Right on. Yes, sir. That is what I listened to, that one, and then I've got another one that Fire Crow, that I listened to also. All right, guys. Well, we're going to get back on here later this afternoon or this evening. I'm going to do some work on the rabbit stick and maybe do a little bit more flint napping. So if you'd like to, come back and join me this evening at 8 o'clock. I'll be on here 8 to 10, and hope to see you come back. Have a great day. Watch out for yourselves and those around you. Keep chipping.